So I've been thinking about Christmas traditions a lot at the minute, funnily enough, considering it's Christmas time. But Christmas traditions have looked really different for me at like every different stage of my life. And I am now at the point where I just want Christmas to be a bit more meaningful, a bit more special, and a bit more like intentional. Honestly, I'm just craving that sort of like nostalgic Christmas vibe. So I thought I would just share some of the traditions that I had as a kid, some of the ones that I've got now, and most importantly, some of the ones that I would love to start one day as well. So just a little PSA on traditions. I'm just saying tradition is just anything that I do pretty much every year, just to make Christmas a bit more Christmas, you know, like a bit more special, and equally just like romanticizes the whole holiday period a bit as well. So childhood traditions. So for context, I had split family, double Christmas. It's not as fun as it sounds. And so there were certain things that we did every year, but it wasn't necessarily always at the same time. But there were some things that were sort of like a staple within the Christmas period. So Christmas baking was always a really big thing at my dad's house. And it was very much like my stepmom's realm, and we weren't really allowed to get involved in it too much. But we would then always, on Christmas Eve, we would kind of get to help with, you know, like cutting out the gingerbread cookies and things like that. So yeah, she would normally start that sort of like a couple of days before Christmas. And as I got older, I definitely wanted to do more with that, but it was definitely very much her realm. No one was allowed to do anything with it. It was her thing. So yeah, we got to cut out the cookies. But it was still something that happened every year, and you just sort of knew, like, if the Christmas baking didn't happen, you'd be like, what the hell is going on? Like, it was just something that was done every single year for Christmas, and it did then make it, like, we then have, like, nice, like, homemade things over Christmas, like, over the Christmas period, and then, like, you know, into, like, Boxing Day and, like, in the few days after Christmas, kind of, like, between Christmas and New Year's, it's always a bit of a odd time, I guess, and it sort of just made that bit a bit nicer, I think. Then as well, so when it came to decorating, so decorating in my family when we were younger, it was always done, and I think this was at both houses as well. It was always usually done around the first weekend of December. So it was a bit different at my mum and my dad's house. At my dad's house, my stepmom had a very particular way of all the Christmas decorations went up, and they all went up in exactly the same places every single year. And you couldn't really change that. You couldn't really add to the decorations in any way. It was very much like that was her tree and you didn't touch it kind of thing. Whereas then on my mum's side, it was very much like there was kind of a new thing every year for Christmas, and it was just sort of whatever tacky decorations were currently in the shops at that point, just get a whole bunch of them. And yeah, it was just, I say tacky, not because I'm not being judgy. If people do that, I still get some decorations from just like, you know, supermarkets and things like that. But it was just, I found it tacky in the way of, it was just very excessive, and it was like, she had to get, you know, a new colour scheme every single year, and it was all stuff that it wasn't very high quality. It would break so quickly, like literally every single year. And that's why I found it quite tacky. It's not my personal style, but yeah, that was definitely how the decorating went at my mum's house. It just sort of felt like everything was bought for the sake of it, and yeah, it was just very excessive and wasn't needed at all. Then I think one thing that was a tradition I remember as a kid, at my mum's, we would get like a Christmas Eve present, and it was always like new pajamas that then you'd wear Christmas Eve night, and you'd get to wake up in them on Christmas morning. And yeah, I always remember that, and we'd always look forward to that on Christmas Eve. And I think it gives something else to a different day in the Christmas period without adding too much into Christmas, like actual Christmas Day, if that makes sense. Like, you're kind of spreading it out a bit more, which I think is just a bit nicer. At my dad's, so like how the actual day went, we'd have like stockings at the end of our beds, and there was always like new Christmas pajamas in that. And yeah, you could open your stockings whenever you wanted, but we had to wait for presents. So you'd get your stocking, and then everyone would go and like have breakfast. There'd be some sort of like random like Christmas thing, one of those like pull apart like panettone things. I absolutely hated them, but we always had that, and everyone would then like, you know, get up, get ready, get dressed and whatnot, and then everyone would just sort of like slowly start congregating to the living room expecting presents. Like that was just what happened. And it was almost like they tried to make the day not about the presents, but then in doing so made it completely about the presents. It was just very, very weird. And then also like the whole day basically revolved around the timings of the turkey. And like whenever the turkey needed something doing with it, it was like, okay, like, you know, we're not going to be doing anything during that time because parents need to go and sort out something with food. And yeah, I definitely say food was a much bigger part of it at my dad's house than my mum's. And at my mum's, it was very much like the kids literally got up at the crack of dawn, trying to wake everyone up and trying to just go and get presents ASAP. Everyone would just dive under the Christmas tree, and then you kind of spend like the next couple of hours, everyone just like looking through whatever presents they'd got because they'd opened them so quickly they didn't even like, you know, stop to look at anything they'd actually got. So yeah, it was a bit of a different vibe at each house. But another thing I also remember, so we had this really big advent calendar that went like on the back of the door, and it had like all these pockets on it for each day of Advent, and it was big enough, like this thing was the size of the door. And so these pockets were quite big, and it was basically me and my sisters would share it. And so my parents would fill it up like every single evening. But it was sort of a thing of, I think when we were younger, we were told it was like the elves or something, like it was Santa's elves. And like they were coming every single night to sort of like check that we were behaving and being good. And then you'd get your chocolate in the Advent if you'd been good. I think we always got the chocolate anyway. But I guess it's kind of that thing now of like the elf coming every night. Now kids have that whole like the elf on the shelf thing, which I'm totally going to do when I have kids, by the way. But yeah, I absolutely love the advent calendar, and I definitely want to do something like that again. Maybe, to be fair, when I have kids, I feel like an entire door-sized advent calendar for just me and Joel is a little bit excessive. So what current traditions do I have? Now, I feel like I'm still in that phase of life where I'm kind of like figuring out different things that I want to have as traditions, and equally now as well, like blending certain things that Joel's always had as traditions growing up and still wants to do those things, and things that I kind of want to introduce. Like there's not really many traditions that my family still has. Like we had childhood traditions, but there's been so much sort of turbulence within different like family relationships that there isn't necessarily loads of traditions in my family currently. Whereas Joel's family still do quite a few things that they have done every year since they were kids, and they still do them now. And yeah, so it's been quite interesting trying to sort of like blend the two and have things that, you know, Joel's always done, then with like blending with things that like I want to start introducing and start doing. But one thing that we started last year, and we're actually yet to do it this year, as you could tell, like the Christmas tree is still not even decorated. Like it's got lights on, it's there, but it's not even got the decorations on it, and we're now like a week out from Christmas. But we basically each pick out a new decoration every year. We started it last year, and yeah, we both just like pick out a new decoration that we really love. And then I can just imagine it, you know, in like 20 years, and there's like the decorations from like every year that we've bought them. It's just like little things like that that I want to do more of, that I think make Christmas really special. And then equally make it really meaningful. Like we can then look back in 20 years and have all of these decorations that we've picked out and kind of curated every year. So yeah, I have definitely really enjoyed starting that, and we will definitely be continuing that one. Now, this one might be a bit controversial, but starting this year, we are actually leaving our Christmas decorations up until the evening before February 2nd. Now, before I lose any of you, this whole like, and I did my research on this, but this whole like modern take on, oh, it's bad luck to leave Christmas decorations up, it is actually a modern take on it. It's not like the tradition was kind of, and this dates back to like medieval times, but you'd actually leave them up until it's like 40 days after Christmas or something, which is like the February 2nd. And then there'd be like some big feast or something like that on February 2nd. I think, what is it called? It's called like Candlemas or something. So feel free to look into that yourself. But yeah, we are basically deciding to leave them up until February 2nd. Now, we didn't decide to do this because it is a traditional thing to do. We basically decided that, you know, January is depressing. I personally, and I think Joel would agree, like I find it the most depressing month of the year. And so Christmas decorations bring you joy. Why would you not extend that into January and just try and bring a bit more joy into January? You know, like you have all of these nice cozy decorations all throughout December, and then you're just supposed to take them down in the most depressing month of the year. It makes no sense to me. So we've decided to leave them up basically, and I could not be happier about that decision. Genuinely, honestly, I don't even care if there's bad luck around it, but that is definitely like a modern thing, I think, of it being bad luck. So yeah, we are leaving them up until February. And one thing as well, we haven't actually been able to do it the past, like this year and last year, because last year I moved into the house around November time. This year Joel moved in around November time. So it's always been quite a bit chaotic around this time of year, like the last couple of years. But ideally, we would also then put decorations up in November. So we are just gonna, from next year, hopefully, we're going to be having decorations up from like November through to February. And I cannot wait. Genuinely, it's going to bring so much joy. And I don't even care if it's bad luck. I don't care if anyone disagrees. That's what we're going to be doing. So the other thing that I've got on my list, I've just got my list on my phone. But the other thing is Christmas baking. Now, obviously, I know I said we had it as a thing when we were kids, but I have basically started my own thing with Christmas baking, where I just bake loads of stuff around Christmas. It's mainly like I bake it and then take it wherever I'm going to be for Christmas. So the last couple of years, so last year and then this year, be over at Joel's. But then also like seeing my family around Christmas, seeing my friends. And I just sort of then like take bits with me, like with whoever I go and see around Christmas. But I just bake loads of different things, and I don't think Joel's family are quite used to it yet with just how much I actually bake, but I do just genuinely love it. I genuinely enjoy it. Like baking and crafting are the two things where I can just completely lose track of time when I'm doing them, and if I could make a career out of either of those, that would be the dream. So watch this space. Maybe I'll have a bakery one day. I would absolutely love one. But yeah, Christmas baking has become like my tradition that I do it every year. Even if other people don't want to eat it, I'm like, I'm still going to do it and you're going to receive it. Pass it on to other people, like share it round. That's what I think makes Christmas so much more meaningful and so much more like special. It's just sharing all of that stuff. It sounds kind of cringe, but it is what it is. Now, onto the best bit. Future traditions. So things that I have seen that I would love to do. A lot of them are kind of like a one day when I have kids. So if anyone has kids and hasn't heard of these traditions and wants to try them, great. I hope this helps. Equally, people with kids might like see this and go, girl, that is never happening. It's just good luck trying to get that to happen. So yeah, love to know your opinion. But basically, building on what me and Joel now do, where we get a new decoration every year, I want to do that with the kids as well. So then they each get to pick out a new decoration every year. And it's just that sort of like gradually adding to your Christmas decorations rather than, and I've really had to rein myself in a bit this year, it's rather than that feeling of needing to have it all sorted straight away and needing to have it all finished and perfect in like the first year of decorating everything. Just like adding to it and curating a collection over time that you absolutely love. And equally, I can just imagine then, like, when my kids are like older, and then like either, I don't know, either we can give them the decorations that they picked out, or we then keep the decorations that they picked out, and then it's like their whole childhood of picking out decorations all in one tree. The thought of that is so meaningful to me, and I'm absolutely going to be doing it. So equally as well, building on a current tradition with the baking, that is something that, you know, obviously I wanted to do more of as a kid, but we weren't really allowed. And I definitely don't want it to be like as strict when I have kids. Like, if they want to join in, obviously I'm not saying they have to, but I would love them to. And if they then want to join in and they want to do more things with it, then absolutely, the more the merrier. I know that there is certain things where I'm like, okay, that will be me doing that. Purely just because it would be way too stressful trying to get kids to do that. But equally as well then, when like, you know, kids get older, if they want to join in on any of that stuff, they absolutely can. And I don't want that to be like, I think probably because I wasn't allowed to when I was a kid, I'm like, that is definitely not going to be something I'm going to be precious about or strict about. Like, as long as it happens. I don't care if it's, you know, only me that bakes it because I end up in a family with no one else that enjoys baking. But equally, if I end up having kids that enjoy it and want to bake, then great, you know, they can get involved. So that will definitely be a tradition that is sort of built on from what I currently do. And now I would probably say this is the biggest tradition that I've always wanted to start, and I am not in a position to do it just yet at all. But I think because I've got family and like friends and loved ones and everything that are so like spread out and separated across the country, and it's always something like no one really wants to be traveling around like on Christmas. Like, I know everyone kind of does it because they have to, but I would absolutely love to be in a position where I can just be like hostess of the mostess and host everyone at Christmas, have a house that is big enough. And I mean, this is very much aspirational, and I really hope one day that it comes true, but this is very much like, this is dreaming big. And yeah, I would just love to have like just a big enough space where everyone that I love and everyone that's in my life, like, we can all just come to one place and we can all just spend Christmas together. You're not having to travel around on Christmas. You're not having to think logistically of like, oh, am I going to be able to see this person and this person on Christmas? Oh, we're not going to be able to do that. We'll have to do it Boxing Day. No, everyone could just come to the same place. And equally then, like, I get to spend Christmas with everyone that I love. So equally, any family and friends that I haven't told this idea to, you'll be invited one day to the big Heather Christmas party. I say party, it would just be Christmas Day. The only thing will be cooking Christmas dinner for that many people. Maybe it'll be like if people then want to bring things with them, they totally can. I think that's one thing, like, it's sort of that idea of like community, which I think is like really sorely lacking at the minute. And it's just not having it so structured that then things can't change and evolve and adapt over time. And equally, like, you know, if I did a Christmas dinner and then people wanted to bring things with them, not going, oh, no, we can't have that, we've already got all of this, we've already got Christmas dinner sorted. Like, just everyone just do what you want, just bring what you want, just like yeah, I feel like that just makes it so much more intentional and so much more meaningful and just special. Like, Christmas genuinely, and I feel like I've only really realised this as I've gotten a little bit older, but it really is for me just about spending time with people I love and doing little things that have a big impact. So like the baking, for example, for me that just makes Christmas and it brings me joy, so I'm gonna do it. If I was stressing over that to the point where I was like, okay, I'm not enjoying this, then I wouldn't be doing it. I think that's the thing, like, just doing more things that are going to bring joy. And equally, this is just in life in general, not even just at Christmas. but doing more of those things that are just going to make it a bit more meaningful and a bit more intentional, and bring back that sort of like nostalgic Christmas vibe. I think maybe that was the thing of, it was way more about like people than presents, you know? And equally with that, like more handmade presents, more thoughtful presents. Like if I buy a present in a charity shop for £2 that I know somebody is going to absolutely love, why does it matter that I've only spent £2 on it? Like, when did it become about the monetary value of what presents you're buying? Do you know what I mean? So that's how I'm going to be having my Christmas. And equally, I know that this is not going to happen overnight, and I'm probably going to build on this every year. And so eventually, one day in 10, 15, 20 years time, whatever, I'm going to have the curated Christmas of my dreams. And I'm gonna enjoy curating it in the meantime every single year. So I feel like that is a good sum up, really, of my Christmas traditions and what I want to be doing with Christmas traditions, and just making it a bit more special. So anyway, I would absolutely love to know if anyone has like a Christmas tradition that they feel just makes Christmas, like just something that you do that just makes whether it's Christmas Day, whether it's the Christmas period, the holiday period, whatever, it just makes it so much more special and so much more meaningful. I would absolutely love to know. Let me know in the comments. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more cozy content. And I will see you next time. Bye.